And now an interview about the upcoming Letter Carriers Food Drive. This is Jim Smith for Radio Labor Journal. I'm speaking with Neil Parekh, Vice President of Marketing and Communications with United Way of Snohomish County. Hello, Neil. We have annual Letter Carriers Food Drive coming up. United Way is greatly involved in that, and some other organizations too. But would you like to tell us a little bit about the involvement of United Way and other organizations helping out in this Letter Carriers Food Drive?
Absolutely. And first of all, Jim, thank you for having me on the program. The Letter Carriers Food Drive is going to be on Saturday, May 12th. And it really is a strong partnership between several organizations. United Way is one of them. First and foremost, it's the letter carriers, the National Association of Letter Carriers, that are at the heart of the food drive. But we're also working very closely with the Volunteers of America and the Snohomish County Labor Council. It's really an excellent example of how the community comes together when there is a very strong need out there of helping one another and really looking out for working families in Snohomish County. If you talk with the folks at the Volunteers of America who run the food banks here in the county, what they'll tell you is that a lot of the people who until recently were coming in and donating food and contributing, some of those same people are now having to come in and see what they can get in terms of help. And that's something that's being seen across the state and really the country. It's a widespread concern that we have, and that's why we're really we're proud of the work that the letter carriers have done for all these many years in organizing the food drive. It's something that we're really happy to be helping with and partnering with them to make it a huge success.
Can you tell us a bit about the food drive, what's some of the history of it, and how the drive is done in these previous years?
Well, I can tell you how we're hoping to organize it this year, because we're really trying to step up in terms of the contributions and the impact that we can have. In the last year, for example, in 2011, the letter carriers collected over 271,000 pounds of food. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time really figuring out what that means and what kind of impact that has. But if you break it down, that's over 208,000 meals that were provided for people. And more so, 23,000 people actually benefited from that. So that gives you a sense of the impact. I mean, it's pounds of food are really an abstract number, but when you start thinking about 23,000 people are on the receiving end, it makes a big difference. So one of the things that we're trying to do with getting the word out and encouraging people to make sure they know that the food drive is going to be on May 12th, we want people to know that the bags, these yellow bags, are going to be showing up in their mailboxes in a few days before, around May 9th. The letter carrier is going to bring out the bags and leave them in people's mailboxes. And we're encouraging people to leave non-perishable items, cans of soup, etc., in the bag on that Saturday. And then that Saturday, the letter carriers, as part of their normal postal route, and this is really an important point, I mean, everyone has a job to do, and letter carriers have a certain number of houses they have to hit every day. In addition to their regular route, they're going to be picking up these bags of food and bringing them back to their trucks and then going back and forth to make sure that all that food makes it back to the post office. So, they're going to be doing their part. We're hoping that people do theirs as well by putting food in those yellow bags and leaving it for their letter carrier.
There are volunteers that will be helping out too, like I help out in Smoky Point.
Well, there are many ways that people can help, and I was just mentioning one of them in terms of people actually giving food and making that donation. But as you mentioned, volunteering is an important aspect of this project. So people like you and others will be picking up food from some of the more rural areas. But here in Everett, in Linwood, in Edmonds, we're going to have 4 distribution centers where we're encouraging volunteers to come out for a couple hours on that Saturday, because once all the letter carriers bring their food in from their particular zip codes, we're going to have to sort that food. We're going to have to put them in boxes and then truck them out to the various food banks. So if folks are interested, the Volunteers of America of Western Washington has a sign-up form on their website for people to volunteer. And we'd love for people to come out and help that way as well.
Tell us how volunteers can get involved. Where do they go to be able to find out how to help?
Like I said, we'd love to have people sign up to help volunteer for that day. The Volunteers of America of Western Washington has a sign-up form on their website. I can give you that website address. It's www.voaww.org. So that's voaww.org. And if you go on that website and search for Letter Carriers Food Drive, you'll find the information.
And and you can do that. And also, if you do live in a rural area, go to your post office and say, "Can I help out?" Or go to your food banks, and because they're going to have to be bringing this food in and processing it. I know I've helped out at food banks too, and there are people that go there and help out, and it would be a good way to do that. And this is just one day. It's a Saturday. It's going to be so much fun being able to help out is such a rewarding feeling.
And it really is. I mean, it is just one day. It's that week we'll be having more information out there, so people are reminded about the yellow bags and putting the food in there. But it's also really important. It's kind of, in a certain sense, it's kind of like Christmas for the food banks, because of all the food that are collected for the food banks over the course of a year here in Snohomish County, 50% will be collected on that one day through the Letter Carriers Food Drive. So fully half of all the food that goes into our Snohomish County food banks will be collected on May 12th. So this is really important. It's like, any retail operation around Christmas, around Thanksgiving, they really count on that business. The people of Snohomish County, the food banks are really counting on everyone's support because we all work together. It's really a question of looking out for each other and seeing what kind of community we want to live in. And if we can all pull together and collect some good food, we can make a big impact.
I know as a volunteer, it's so nice to be able to stop at a mailbox and here's a large bag or a large box of food. But Neil, you don't have to go out and do a large shopping for this thing. What else? What are we looking for?
Yeah, that's a good point, Jim. I mean, of course, we'd love it if people were able to put a full bag in, but you don't need to do that. We're really looking for people to reach in their cupboard, see if they have an extra can of soup or some pasta, rice or beans, other dry goods like that. Whatever people can spare will make a big difference. When we pull it all together, when we get food from across the county, your one can or your one bag of beans will actually help people, will help families. So we certainly don't want people to feel pressure to go out and do a big shopping. We'll never turn down that food, but again, one can of beans or one thing of pasta would be great too.
Again, what day is this, and roughly what should they do?
So look for the yellow food drive bags on May 9th. That's in the middle of the week. They'll come into your mailbox. On May 12th, and that's a Saturday, the letter carriers will come out and pick up the yellow bags. So make sure that those bags have something in them at least. And they'll bring them back to various distribution centers. And if people want to volunteer, they can go to the VOA website. That's www.voaww.org to volunteer and help out.
Neil Parekh, Vice President of Marketing and Communications for United Way of Snohomish County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. It was a pleasure being on the show.
You're listening to Radio Labor Journal on KSER 90.7 FM and KSER.org.